This is the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast with your host, Kevin Murray.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast. Now, when I say we have a special guest today, I think you'll absolutely agree. It's my honor to welcome to the show Austin Ekeler from the Washington Commanders.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. I saw Matthew Berry, one of my guys, in the intro that you had on too. So I've seen you had some other great company.
It's an honor to have you on here. Now, you're no stranger to fantasy football. In fact, you're widely considered the greatest player advocate the community has ever seen. You've made a huge impact off the field with the Austin Ekeler Foundation. What was it that inspired you to start the foundation, and what does that mission mean to you?
Yeah, so my foundation really started after my second year, where, long story short, going back a little bit, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, wanted to continue to build things, and I saw the foundation as an opportunity to do that. And so after my second year in the league, I wanted to start a project where I could give back tangible resources into the community, things like weight rooms, washers and dryers, backpacks, school supplies, clothing, things that can tangibly be, helpful for somebody and make what seems as something that's normal for most people, maybe something that's absent for some. And so filling those gaps is what we do with the Austin Ekeler Foundation, and it's kind of spread into some other projects as well.
It's awesome. Now, you've obviously embraced the game of fantasy. You've leaned into the culture and connected with fans in a real genuine way. When was it that you first discovered fantasy football, and when did it click for you that this game could actually bring people together and drive real impact?
Yeah, so it was actually my rookie year. So I really didn't play fantasy football at all until like my third year. But my rookie year, I really realized how passionate people were about fantasy football. And I had mainly been a special teams player. And then it started to kind of carve out a role in the offense for myself. And then actually it was a Jaguars game. I started to, or Melvin Gordon, the guy that was also, we were splitting carries at the time, he got hurt that game. So I had a lot more reps, and I had like 2 touchdowns, like 100 yards. And so had a great game, popped off, right? A guy that was seen as more of the backup, put up some starter points, but then I ended up fumbling the ball like late in the game. And then after the game, I had a bunch of DMs about how I need to learn how to hang on to the ball and how I need to learn how to play football. And that was kind of my first like eye-opening moment of like, why are these people coming at me? But then I kind of spun it to, oh, people really care about this fantasy football thing. And from then on, I continued to be consistent and had a lot of positive messages. And now it made more sense to me why people were DMing me, because of how passionate that community is.
Yeah, no shortage of passion for sure. And obviously you've won countless championships for fantasy managers with your on-field performance, but you've also made an impact in sports media, including your time on Ekeler's Edge with Liz Loza and Matt Harmon. What was that experience like with them? What did you learn most about the game and the community on that show?
Yeah, I think when I started to really pick up popularity in the fantasy world and started, scoring more points for everyone, I think it was a position where people were coming to me, asking me questions. And I'm really interactive. Like I had a Twitch stream, so I would be on Twitch talking about fantasy. We actually ran a fantasy league in my Twitch stream. And then also people are asking me things that I didn't necessarily know. So I partnered up with a few experts, and we made Ekeler's Edge for a few years, a podcast that we had. And with that, we were just giving out as many opinions as we possibly could to help with sleeper picks. People were asking me about, my perspective as a current player. And so I would give them ideas about different coordinators and things like that maybe you wouldn't see from your aspect and your point of view. So it was a really good opportunity to kind of branch myself, but it also taught me how deep the rabbit hole goes on fantasy, because you could talk about coaches, you can talk about, age, you could there's so many categories that you can have as a factor of why this person's going to be a bust or this person's going to be a boom this year. And so it really showed me that this is a full-time job. And so I was glad I was able to partner up with some experts and give out as many opinions as we could. But it was a fun time, and, something that was, fun while it lasted. But then I was like, okay, this is a full-time job. I'm not going to be able to sustain this for very much longer. So it was fun 3 years.
But yeah, obviously a great show. And Liz and Matt are absolute professionals and great people. So when it comes to playing the game, what formats are your preferred settings? Like, what do you love?
As a running back that catches the ball a lot, we're going 1 point PPR. That's what I've always played in because I always, if I'm in a league, I draft myself immediately. I don't care what my role is. My role has changed over the years, and I just know that benefits me the most. So if I'm playing in it, that's what I'm going to play in, if it's my league anyway. So that makes sense for me, and that's kind of where I've been the most popular in those types of leagues.
PPR for sure. Austin Ekeler all the way. Now let's talk about charity draft. What is it, and what inspired the use, using fantasy football as a vehicle for social impact?
Yeah, absolutely. So the fantasy football community, we're talking about how massive, how passionate people are about it. Well, with athletes, we don't necessarily get to benefit from that in a way that kind of directly can really be brought together, because it's really the results of things that we've already done. And so what I looked to do was, let's use fantasy. How can we use fantasy as current players to impact things that we actually care about? Because we don't care if we score points for your team, because it's not our team, it's your team, right? So now with charity draft, what we do is set up leagues for players that they can donate prizes to. It's game worn gear, signed memorabilia, tickets to like games and stuff, really like kind of exclusive stuff. And what you can do is you'll register for their league, and that registration fee goes to the charity of their choice. Think of like My Cause, My Cleats, but fantasy football version. So you get a chance to win those awesome prizes. We also do weekly contests, like, for example, backfield boom. If your running backs score the most points in the first week, then you'll win our sponsored prize. So a bunch of different ways to get involved and have a great time with fantasy football, but also give back to the community. And then it also brings that player and kind of wraps them into the experience as well. So really looking forward to raising money for charities, but then also giving a cool experience to give back to the community and play fantasy at the same time.
That's amazing. Can you name some of the players that are involved?
Yeah, so myself is one of them, Geno Smith, AJ Dillon. We have some retired guys, Ray Lewis and Brian Dawkins. We have some defensive guys too. Defensive guys don't get love, but now we can actually make there's still fans of defensive players. We have like Trent McDuffie from the Chiefs, Justin Reed, who's now on the Steelers. So we have some defensive players that are popular, that are making an impact on their team. And now this is an awesome way to bring the defensive side into the fantasy world as well. So we have 20 guys that we have right now, and this is the first time we ran it for other people besides myself. So we'll continue to build this list as we kind of build our reputation. Actually just got permission to start seeking out some NHL. So we're going to go NHL, MLB, NBA, trying to get all of them involved so we can create this kind of big organization around fantasy sports that also helps the community at the same time. So you can check it out at charitydraft.com if you're interested.
That's fantastic. Now, you've also teamed up with Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life to enhance the experience. How has that partnership elevated leagues, and what fans will take away from this opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we understand about fantasy is that if you don't win, typically you don't get anything. Well, we didn't want that to be a thing in our league. Like, there's registration, you're paying money, good money to be in this experience. So we want to make the experience, regardless if you win or lose, as kind of fulfilling as possible. So if you join a league, I'm sending you a video thanking you, kind of giving you some tips and things like that. Also, Matthew Berry, as you mentioned, has his Fantasy Life platform. So he's giving us a free hour of his time to do some coaching for the draft. So you get to be coached by Matthew Berry. Also, he's giving you a guide for the entire year with sleepers and all of that type of stuff. So you'll be better at fantasy football just from joining these. Not only that, you'll also get a signed photo from any person that you join. So if you join mine, you'll be getting a signed photo or even a signed card. I have to sign a bunch of these cards, and these will be going out to the people that will be joining. So we have different things that no matter what you enter, you're going to be getting stuff. You're going to be part of a community. You're going to be getting better at fantasy football. So yes, if you win, cherry on top, but just being a part, you're going to feel like this is like no other league you've been a part of.
That's fantastic. Now, speaking of Matthew Berry, as a previous ride or die player of his, what should he be expecting from his beloved Washington Commanders this year?
Man, the NFL is, what did you do for me last year from a media standpoint? Media only has the stuff that's already been out there to really report on. So for us this year, they're thinking, big standard, all of that. Absolutely, that happens. But for us internally, it comes down to resetting ourselves, right? We have to push the reset button just like we did last year. We came into a team that won 5 games the previous year. We came back and made a run. Well, guess what? We won 12 games last year. People are expecting this. That's not how the NFL works. As players, it's continued to rebuild. Hey, we're in a position. We got some new players coming in. Let's embrace them. Let's put the culture back together. Let's get ourselves on the right spot. Let's take it one day at a time, and the results will play themselves out if we take care of business from that. And so that's where we're at right now. That's our mentality, and we think we're going to have some good results because of that. But again, take it one day at a time as a current player.
I love it. Well, it's a fun team to watch for sure. Now, with Charity Draft, how does this fit into the broader mission of the Austin Ekeler Foundation and your vision for uplifting communities moving forward?
So I think with Charity Draft, what we're looking to do is bring communities together. And we do that by putting tangible resources into communities, like I said. Also, we can do it by fundraising. Right? Fundraising. How can we bring communities together to fundraise for these initiatives out in the community? And typically fundraising looks like a big gala or some type of big event. Well, this is a big virtual event. And typically if you want a fundraiser, you want it to be fun, engaging, and something that you're excited to be a part of. And so this is a perfect opportunity that I don't think has really been tapped into right now, of a big community that already exists in the fantasy world, but just putting a slight spin on it to continue to make it where funds will go towards those places. But then also people are looking forward to this every single year to be in their players' fantasy league. We see it sometimes after things happen in games, people will donate to people's charities. I think there's the troll version where there's the opposite kicker missed the kick and the other team won, and they donate to the kicker, like, hey, thank you. And there's also times where I've won someone's fantasy and they would make a donation to my charity and they're like, hey, we appreciate you. So this is kind of opening that space where if you're you want to be a part of an athlete, or you want to be a part of one of your favorite players, this is the place to go to be involved and then also help them out on the charity side as well.
Well, I love it. It's truly inspiring. You obviously love empowering people. Now, I recently wrote a book to empower commissioners when it comes to just making their leagues more special, more fun, helping them create the league of their dreams, essentially. For commissioners, from your perspective, what can they do to deeper the purpose in their leagues? What advice do you give to commissioners to help them make a bigger impact through fantasy?
Yeah, I think if you are just, casual with your buddies, I think that's something that maybe it's not as serious to be the commissioner. Maybe you're just setting it up. But if you're really looking to kind of build a league that has, kind of a community base around it, I would say try to make the events that you can something a little bit bigger, a little bit more memorable. The draft is the obvious one, right? If you can do something special for the draft for your guys or your girls, whoever's involved, that's going to make your league be a little bit more special because it's a fun event that you can really kick off, build some camaraderie, have fun with it. I'm sure we've seen all the videos of some people introducing, who they want to pick and things like that, and dressing in fake crazy outfits, make it themed. Also, I think one thing that people could do as well is do some weekly contests. That's what we do at Charity Draft. So yes, obviously we're all trying to win for, the very end and be the first, but there's, 14 weeks before then, and some teams are going to drop off. Well, if I'm in last place, my motivation to keep trying is in the dirt. So I think what commissioners could do is actually put in some contests that are weekly that people can compete for. So there's always something every single week that they're competing for. And I think that would make you the best commissioner out there.
That's fantastic advice. I love it. Now, where do you see yourself fitting into the fantasy sports community moving forward?
Yeah, right now, my mission in the fantasy sports community is to continue to really empower athletes, specifically athletes that are doing stuff off the field, because fantasy sports is available because of us athletes going out there and performing our jobs. But again, we don't directly impact from a lot of it. A lot of it's indirectly. We'll take that, absolutely. But let me help try to bridge the gap in giving something that you can actually utilize from the fantasy world. The defensive players, for instance, they don't give a dang about fantasy because they can't impact it. But there's still people that are fans of these players that play fantasy. And so my mission in the fantasy world, not only for football, but for all other sports and really all other league and season-long fantasy, is to continue to bridge that gap and utilize this huge community to help our communities that are in need.
Well, I love it. Well, I'd love to see you collaborate with Scott Fish and Fantasy Cares.
Yes.
And love to see you at the Fantasy Football Expo someday, because I think those are events and people that will obviously help to, bring spotlight to what you're building.
Awesome. Well, I've met with Scott and would look forward to working with him in the future. We've collaborated on some ideas, and so we're definitely cooking something up. So looking forward to the future and how we can continue to expand all of this.
Love it. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on here. How can the fantasy community get behind and support Charity Draft and help spread the word this season?
Yeah, and just know it's not just supporting. You're also playing for some epic prizes. For example, like in one of my tiers, if you make it to the playoffs, you get Commanders-Eagles game week 15. There's some great prizes. Then, like I mentioned, sign stuff. You get, the fantasy guys. So definitely check it out. We have 20 players at charitydraft.com. If you just type in charity draft on Google, it'll pop up and you can check it out. And just know we'll be continuing to add more to that roster for years to come. So hopefully if we don't have now your favorite player, we'll have them in the future.
Great. Now, I'm truly excited to see where this goes. You definitely understand that fantasy football is more than just about stats and standings. It's about connection, community, and impact. Obviously, the stats do matter, though. So, winning championships is fun. But, yeah, that connection, community is what it's all about. It's been an honor to have you on here, and I wish you all the luck in the future, Austin.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast. Until next time, be sure to follow and subscribe to all of FFU's social media accounts for daily content.